Guys, all right for me to move on to the Alpha Mask?
I mean, yeah, let's go to the Joker mask. I didn't realise.
Okay.
We'll do that. Humour can be used as a mask that shields both the wearer and those around him.
So, sorry, French, just to cut you. What page is the Joker mask? Is it 1, 2?
I'm not too sure.
Right,
1, 2.
For those of you with the book, sorry, we missed out a mask slightly, so we're just gonna go.
My apologies.
We're gonna go back and just revisit that mask, and it's the Joker mask, which if you've got your books, is actually on page 131.
The effects of making another person laugh are reminiscent of fast-acting drugs. You feel instantly better, and the results are addictive. Sad people make careers out of making us laugh. That's on page 132. Does being funny make you more manly, do you reckon?
No. Sorry, that's a very simple answer.
Yeah, it doesn't add or take away anything from me.
Yeah,
it does, okay. and it depends. It also depends on the recipient or the person you're with. That's for me. That's the easiest way to break it down.
Yeah,
because I think like I'm a very unique character and individual, and I think if you don't get my sense of humor, a relationship between us is not going to work, because I think that's a big part of my character. So I agree with Poco. It doesn't make you more manly, but at the same time, it doesn't add to your manliness, but at the same time, it doesn't take away from your manliness either.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree, to be honest. Men who wear this mask deflect this pain with humour, so they never have to feed it. The opposite of pain is pleasure or joy, and that's the thing they want to focus on the most, the thing they don't have. Do you think sarcasm is a reflection of pain in regards to this, in that last statement?
It can be.
Yeah.
It can be. Trying to think of an example. It can, yeah. Sometimes if I'm in a mood, I can be very sarcastic with the person I'm with, and it's no reflection on them, because they could say something, they could say the same thing at another time, and I can laugh it off, or it will just be a joke, or whatever.
Just go past.
Exactly, yeah. But it depends on the mood I am. Sometimes if I'm in a bad mood, I can just be, yeah, I can be like, it's not that I'm coming across horrible, but it's definitely like you're just being really sarcastic with me, and just like, you know what I mean, it's not nice, and I can do it the way I could do it. Is I can really be not nice with it as well, to make the person feel really small. So I know I have that in my armory, so to speak.
What about you, P?
So it's sarcasm,
a deflection of pain.
And yeah, in some ways, yeah. I mean, it kind of touches that throughout the whole Joker mask in regards to the mask itself deflecting from your own pain. So sarcasm, I'm gonna say, is maybe forms of makeup of like the Joker mask. So yeah, I'm gonna say so. Yeah, a little bit.
I never looked at it as sarcasm of deflection of pain. Never really did, but because I'm very sarcastic, I can be very sarcastic as well.
I think it depends.
It's not it's more I'm just being humorous. It's not nothing's being said that would make me feel any kind of way.
I'm gonna say it in the way that Mason was saying it. So he was saying, I forget how you finished the sentence. You were saying you can do it in such a way where it's not spiteful. You said,
but yeah, you can twist the knife. So
yeah, so that type of sarcasm, I think yes.
Yeah. That.
I think so. In essence, there's probably two different types of sarcasm.
Yeah,
might be more, but I'm looking at two now.
Yeah, no, but it makes sense. Like many people, I want to avoid being the dark cloud in other people's lives, so I pretend things are sunny even when they're obviously not. So I keep things light or at a surface level. I want to talk about other people. I want to focus on other people's challenges, because focus on my own feels vulnerable. Can anyone relate? And that last statement is Lewis Howes kind of speaking on that.
Portugal.
Yes and no. I mean, where I am now, no, but I'd imagine I might have done so in the past. It's funny because I think they touch on I forget the comedian. How can I forget the comedian's name? Sorry, Robbie Williams.
Yeah.
So Robbie or Robin? Robin Williams. So apologies. Yeah, where unfortunately he committed suicide. I forget what year it was, but I do remember that quite well. And where obviously he's played so many different types of people and thank you, characters where, well, he's a fantastic actor anyway. But again, And unfortunately, obviously, due to the fact of him maybe playing so many different characters, it might be very, very difficult to depict and to decipher, obviously, generally how he feels because of his nature in terms of always being very, very jokey. He deflects from how he actually feels. So I think people do definitely deflect by using jokes and you having a Joker mask as to how they feel. I think it's definitely a common theme in high school, actually, where I think you find the jokey person always making jokes, but by and large they're in a I want to say a bad place. They're in a bad place. And I think I've definitely, in fact, I don't know if I said no to begin with, but I think I've definitely been a place where I've used jokes not necessarily to deflect from where I feel, but when I've maybe come out from my house or come out from a space where it wasn't quite pleasurable, and then when you come out, you also come out of a shell, and then also you're a bit more jokey to deflect from genuinely how you feel, to take yourself into a space where you feel actually a bit more happier.
Yeah, no, I get that.
And that probably explains, I know we spoke about school and education. I think that's what a lot of kids do when they come to school. They come from a place at home where things are not quite right. They come into school and all of a sudden this energy and this emotion and they start vocalizing things which they should or shouldn't be doing. And ultimately they get themselves in trouble.
Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts, French?
Can I relate to it? I mean, yeah, everything P was just saying, yeah. But in regards to... Yeah, no, I definitely can. I can't give an example at the moment. But I guess there are times when you put on that mask of just being happy and, do you know what I mean, just getting on with it, even though inside you might be feeling shit or whatnot. So I'll definitely say it's a mask that I've worn, but I'm not really tell a bag of jokes and try and make everyone laugh intentionally. Yeah. But I will put on the happy smiley laugh along with the jokes mask, you know what I mean? Like
Is that, do you think that's a combination of masks as well?
Yeah, possibly. But I think in general we do interchange a lot of our masks that come around, especially the ones that has been mentioned in this book. We definitely interchange constantly.
I mean, yeah, I think we definitely. I'm looking at something here, and it says, "I've put up a fair share of fronts in my life." Now, I'm not too sure what it goes into, but I think sometimes, just like, for example, we go to work tomorrow. Well, unfortunately, I do. All right, so we go to work tomorrow, and I know the moment I walk through that door, I don't know. In fact, no, mind you, I like this school. So, but by and large, not that I'm not happy, but I'd rather not be there. It sounds really wrong, but I'd rather not be there. And I know nobody wants to be at work, but I'm in a place where I was going to say I'm not happy, actually.
Are you?
Oh, that's a bloody great question. Am I happy at this moment in time? I'm going to say yes stroke no. There's things I'm happy with and things I'm not happy with. But I can't wait to get through the next couple of weeks. I think once I get through the next couple of weeks, then I'll see things a bit more clearer. I feel at this moment in time with the work I'm doing, I feel my time is being occupied where I can't do the things I want. And I'm really, really tired. Which is kind of leading into, like, tomorrow I'm going to work and I'm really tired. But when I go into work, it's going to be, hi, how you doing? Smiles, laughs. Yeah. I'm teaching rounders. I can't go there, take your bat, take your ball, and go play. I've got to have a smile and laugh on my face. Smile. I've got to smile. I've got to laugh. Be very, very jovial with some of the kids, and I will naturally be very jovial with them. But that has probably began with a front, and then it's led to me being in a happy space. Yeah. But at the end of the lesson, I'm probably laughing. But in the morning, that's not where that's not what I'm doing. I'm running. I'm fragile, you know. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I think a lot of people have fronts.
Yeah, no, definitely. Humour becomes the ultimate mask, one that gets you what you always wanted, acceptance for being the opposite of who you've always been, different. Not surprisingly, this detachment from the emotions and the identity hidden behind the mask can have profound effects on the relationships, on professional life, and overall happiness. And that's on page 138. The ones who are silly, that tell non-stop stories and jokes, they may be struggling more than most. There was a study done on how men and women react to movies, and the results were revealing. Men experience the same emotions as women when watched on several films. Yeah. However, they did not express those emotions the same way as the women in the study, wrote psychologists Anne Kring and Albert Gordon. Have you ever watched a film with a partner and felt emotional but chose not to show it?
I've watched films by myself and felt emotional and chose not to show it. Straight.
I can relate to that.
Just in case anyone's watching.
I can relate to that still.
We've had this conversation before. In episode 1, I think that is cold. That's probably the reason why I can't watch films at this moment in time. Not because I'm getting too emotional, but I will start. It will take you. Sometimes these films can take me to a place.
Yeah.
A good place and a bad place. So the one film that I know I can't watch, I've watched a couple times recently is, come on, man. Oh, The Law-Abiding Citizen. I don't know why. I don't want to go into it.
I think I know why, but I won't go into it.
What, did you get emotional?
No, I get vexed, boy. That's why I get vexed. Boy. I'll be standing up in the evening, just looking in mirrors, and I'm getting mad up in here, boy. So, and the images are really, really powerful to me.
Yeah.
Really powerful to me.
I think the reason you can relate to that a little bit, not you personally, but you can relate to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's probably why
you
you feel hard done by.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, so definitely. But it's funny, like. I just think the title, I don't want to go too much into. I think the title of the film is really, really powerful. Law-abiding citizen. You doesn't matter what you do. All right. I don't know. You're always not going to be in trouble. I think these are probably bad words I'm using, but you may potentially still find yourself in a bad place. For anyone who's watched the film, it's a very good film.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I take the title to mean something slightly different.
Go on, please tell me.
In that, you could be a law-abiding citizen, but justice doesn't get served.
Yeah, sorry, you've probably articulated it a little bit better than myself, but you have. But yeah, which I think is really, really bad, which you don't want. Well, let's not go down that route in terms of foreign politics and stuff like that, because we don't want that.
Alright, so bringing it back to the Joker mask. In terms of, sometimes joking isn't about making fun of someone, it's about making fun of a situation to disconnect ourselves from whatever uncomfortable emotion it creates in us. Guys in particular are great at this. Humor's always allowed me, and this is Lewis Howes talking, always allowed me to engage in relationships without risk. Using humor, I was able to detail conversations before they ever go too deep, to derail conversations before they ever go too deep, thus keeping people at arm's length. Keeping them at safe distance. What's that?
I know a lot of people do that.
Keeping them at safe distance emotionally. Unfortunately, this behaviour unwittingly and became a barricade to intimacy. One of the things I desire most in life, true communication with my wife, was being frustrated by my subconscious fear of being vulnerable and displayed by the way of humour. He goes on to say, what can we do right now? And the advice he offers to men is to give yourself, I don't know what I've written there, sorry.
That's fine. Do you know what? I'm just gonna, cause something just popped to my mind.
Yeah, go on.
The Joker mask and being in like an uncomfortable situational setting and trying to use your jokes or portray the Joker mask to try and get yourself out of that, or just to make light humor of something which actually is a very serious situation. And I used to like, well, I still do to a certain extent, but I used to a lot more play the Joker mask. And especially, and what happens with me is sometimes I'll be in a situational setting where I don't know what is the right, and I've got inverted commas up for those listening, the right way to behave. Like maybe I'm supposed to feel a sense of sadness or compassion, but for some reason, or that type of emotion, but like for some empathy, but for some reason it's just not coming through, and I'll try and make it, and this happened to me a couple of times, and one really points out and was really bad, and after this I said, you know what, it's better that I just, easiest thing for me is not to say anything and stay clear of something which is a sad situation. And I'll give you this example, it's really bad. So at my old place of work, this was kind of in the first year or so that I started there, we had someone in our workplace who got diagnosed with cancer. And they went through chemo's where you lose your hair and stuff like that. So they went through chemotherapy. They took a lot of time off work, and they're relatively young. I think they were in their late 20s. So anyway, they've cancer's been cleared. They've then they've popped back into the workplace and like kind of sat down in like the break, what we call the breakout area, to have lunch. Everyone's coming in. Oh, how you doing? Oh, it's so good to see you. How you been getting on? How's the treatment? How you been feeling? So I've walked out now, and like I said, oh, so good to see you. Blah blah. How you getting on? Yeah. And there's a big crowd here, by the way. For some reason, like I didn't. As I said, you know, the nerves, and I carry on chatting.
Yeah.
So the person said, yeah, the chemo's gone really well. And I've turned around and said, oh, you don't want to come back here too soon because you lose your hair again. Yeah. And I know. And
wow.
literally,
That's cold.
Wow.
you'd be able to hear a gust of wind go past.
Yeah.
Like, it just went silent.
Yeah.
I just kept it
Wow.
moving. And I was just like, what is wrong with you, Mace?
Yeah.
Like, Mason, what's wrong with you? And after that day, I said, you know what? Just keep me off shut.
Yeah.
Just be there and just keep me off shut. Your presence is enough.
Yeah, that's a mad one.
Yeah,
so.
that wasn't good.
Mazzoline.
And people that were there that are friends of mine, they never let me live it down.
Yeah, I don't think they should, mate, to be honest. The last bit I was going to mention, basically, there's a time to tell the truth and a time to be serious. Connect to the people who surround you, the environment and the mood. And that's on page 152. And that covers...
Sorry, just finishing off. Not even finishing off. Just adding a point. And we're speaking about the Joker mask, and I think maybe just touching on the Robin Williams thing. I'm not too sure we've delved too much into it, but I think for those of us who generally wear the Joker mask, I think pain obviously can be a very lonely place, and men generally don't speak on the issues, and obviously because of that, sometimes things generally kind of spiral out of control. And for those men who generally obviously wear the Joker mask and wear it with aplomb and use it very well to the point where they're very much like Robin Williams, where they're telling loads of different jokes and probably don't get an opportunity to speak up on the issues, I think can be a very dangerous thing, to the point obviously where, again, as I've just mentioned before, sometimes things can like spiral out of control, and before you know it, you're in a place where it's very difficult to kind of turn your life around, dare I say.
Cool. Moving on to the alpha mask.
Yeah.
My time to shine, baby. Right, the alpha mask. So the alpha mask relates to the term alpha male. There's many like definitions you'll probably find on your search engines, the internet and stuff. But one such definition which I found was, for the alpha male, a man tending to assume a dominant or domineering role in the social or professional situations. So in the book, The Mask of Masculinity, scenarios are given as to when your alpha mask may surface, such as someone getting rude to you in a bar, someone getting all the attention in a meeting, or someone being rude to you over the phone. All of which point to a feeling of being made to feel less than or downgraded. Have any of you guys ever been in a situation where you felt disrespected, or that someone has challenged your very existence as a man? What did you do? How did you react? Do you think you'd react the same way now as you may have done in the past if this was in your younger days?
What was that last bit, sorry?
So, blah, blah, blah. Do you think you'd react the same way now as you may have done reacting to this particular situation, the example you may give?
Yeah.
Or if this was in your younger days, would you react different now to how you may have, say, 5-10 years ago? Or maybe 5-10 months ago?
I think in regards to, I'm thinking of an example now, in regards to being an alpha male. When we was in school, there was a couple girls that I knew just through like family friends, and we would say, oh, that's my cousin, you know, like old school, oh, that's my cousin. So yeah, there's a couple girls that I know, and one of them went to a girls' school, locally, whatever. And I went to another school, and apparently someone from my school met her, must have seen her at a sports day or whatever. You know, we had the sports days for all the schools race, and all that. So apparently someone from my school said something to her, or was rude to her, or, do you know what I mean? Said something, I don't know what the conversation, I can't remember what it was, but was being rude and, do you know what I mean, being disrespectful. So word got back to me straight away, and it was a case of, who this guy is, and I found out who the guy was. So obviously everyone's talking about it, so I've stuck it on him. I've gone to go stick it on him, like what is it? And he didn't want to fight, so we didn't fight, but I was willing to then take it to that.
To risk a lot of things.
Yeah, just on the back of like you're being disrespectful to
My
my
fake
people. Yeah, to my people that I just know. But do you know what I mean? Would I react different to it now? Yeah, obviously, I'm mature. I'm not gonna go and try and fight someone if there's been miscommunication. But if it was different, I guess I'm not gonna try and make another scenario. But if like someone put hands on them or someone that's close to me, then I probably would react pretty much the same way. So it could be dependent on the
situation.
Yeah, exactly.
You ever been in a situation where you've been challenged as a man, Pox? Felt disrespected? Felt like someone's challenging your manliness, your manhood?
You know, it's funny, obviously we've known each other long enough, so you might be able to think of examples.
Yeah.
But in terms of younger childhood, I can't think of anything specific. But the first thing that crossed my mind in terms of because we're talking about disrespect now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Cool. So the first thing that crossed my mind in recent time, and this is an adult, like I know better. I know better. I know better. All right. So so this in regards to my brother. So and this is actually with the law. So and this was dead serious. I took a strong offence to this. So I'll start the story anyway. So I think my brother's car got clamped, or not clamped, it was in a pound or something along those lines. It's taken a while to get all the paperwork. I don't know why the delay didn't give me the paperwork, and I think when I've received it, I think the car's going to be crushed or something like that in the next day or so. So I've explained it to solicitor, they've understood, so on and so forth. I've spoken to the pound, and I've come in my reason, but whatever I'm going to explain to them is like makes reasonable sense. I've got an issue here. I'm not going to be able to get this until tomorrow because this is here. So it's not even logistically possible. So the guy's gone to me on the phone. I'm going to crush it anyway. And I thought, and at that point, I'm speaking to him very calmly. I said, no, hold on, listen. This is what's happened. And then he told me, I said, cool, I'm coming. And I said, no, I want you, this is what I told him. I want you to tell me that when I arrive. And then I put the phone down and I went. And I went there. Unfortunately, he didn't come. Obviously, I was dead serious. I was dead serious. So I went round there and he didn't want to come out, obviously. And then we were able to resolve the situation where I was able to get the car out, no problems. No problems if buts or maybes. But I'm laughing because obviously we're talking about the alpha mask, and you spoke about childhood and stuff like that where there may be a lack of maturity and being able to talk it out and stuff like that. But there are times where I feel lines are crossed and stuff like that. Where where I feel there's no going back. Whereas he like, if he told me, unfortunately, if he said this, unfortunately, this is the protocol, blah blah. I understand. He was like, I'm crushing the car anyway. And the way he said, and I said, all right, cool. Yeah, I thought, all right, no problem. I said, I've given you 2-3 times to like change your answer, but you've been quite comfortable in being aggressive with your approach. So you're gonna have to tell me that to my face. Anyway, so that's my example.
How long ago was this?
This was, I'm going to say it was about 4 years ago, 4 years ago.
Do you think, you would have done exactly
the same thing? Okay. You can't be talking to me like that. I didn't like the way you said that. I think there's definitely been situations where probably very similar to that where.
And did you think he was taking you for a boy? Basically?
He was taking me for a fool, definitely 100%. Or he felt comfortable on the phone, thinking that he would never see me. Little do you know, I live 5-10 minutes away, so I'm comfortable making that journey. But apart from that, I think there's definitely been situations maybe in the past where people have got into scuffles and stuff. Like I can't think of an example where maybe now we're older, we can talk and hash things out. I think definitely with age and maturity, I think things change.
Do you know what? One of the reasons I raised this is because I watched one of them kind of panorama type documentaries from the BBC, and it was to do, obviously we know what's in the media with knife crime, blah blah blah. It was to do with some boys that were caught up in the system, and I think it was the BBC had gone into the jail system and spoken to a couple of boys who had been convicted of a knife crime, such as stabbing or killing, and they were maybe 2 or 3 years into their sentences, and all of them, the boys, they were saying how much they wish they could go back, like they wish they hadn't done it. They were angry, they were young, they were stupid, they were hanging on with friends, and they seemed like they had matured so much in that short space of time. And it just makes me think that like with age comes wisdom, and the way we'd react to certain situations would be completely different. Sometimes it could be a situation that happened for me even yesterday and the same thing happening tomorrow. So it's 2 days, but I've learned from the first one. Like the things that like them boys could have had something in their car for me. It was ridiculous. Whereas tomorrow I might be. Do you know what? Within 3 minutes, I'm gonna forget about this. It's not even relevant. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's literally, it can be learning from day to day. It doesn't even have to be such a big time lapse.
Oh, sorry. You know, I do have an example. Sorry, no, one that crossed my mind. In Crossing Borders. In Crossing Borders. So I was going from Peru into Bolivia, and for some strange reason, we'll say they were picking on me, and they didn't really want me to cross the border. So I remember being on the bus. It was early in the morning, and in some of my experiences in Peru, I told myself, you know what, I need to know people right now because the bus had broken down and we had to walk maybe 5-10 minutes to cross the border. So basically, gone into the immigration office, and the officers there, loads of policemen, basically the army, all right, essentially the army kind of thing, wouldn't allow me to cross. And it took these girls who I'd met over the past 5-10 minutes, to which we'd experienced another thing where officers had tried to rob us and stuff like that, and I had to take their stuff and just warn them that they may get robbed. But once we come, obviously, in and amongst the police officers, and everyone got their passport stamped and stuff like that, they weren't stamped mine. The girls were like, you know what, we got to turn on the waterworks and stuff like that. And the things that I learned at that moment in time was there's 3 or 4 different officers, and a lot of them were puffing their chest out as to, I'm not going across into Bolivia and this and that and the third. And I had to lower my tones. I had to say pleases or pavavors and this and that and the other. Understand this is not a situation that I'm necessarily going to be in control of, and the only narrative I got to control is actually not being obedient, but being respectful in a way that he understands that I'm passive and I want no problems. Yeah, and he can be domineering. Thank you. So that's probably a situation I can think of in recent times.
Was there any logical explanation why they wouldn't stamp your passport? Was you the only person that experienced that?
Yeah, I was the only person that experienced it. In fact, it kind of held the bus up because we're all going together in one direction, so it held up the bus. Eventually, obviously, the girls I was with was like, we got to turn on the waterworks. Like, I don't know how to turn on the waterworks and cry. So I was like, you know them ones when you're rubbing your eyes and stuff like that, pretending you're stressed and stuff like that. Yeah. But because my Spanish was relatively good at the time, I was just explaining, listen, I'm with these, I just want to go into Bolivia. I want to give a good time, but it was very simple. I'm here, I'm traveling, I'm going from one place to another, and in order for that to continue, I need to come into Bolivia. That was it, really. But good times.
Moving on, going on to page 196. Lewis House mentioned someone called Chris Voss, who I think for 24 years he worked for the FBI and was like a hostage negotiator. And this is also in relation to the Alpha Mask. He states that when demands are made in a hostage situation, the demands the actual demand that they want, say they want $10 million, is actually third on their list. The first 2 things are being in control and being respected, which leads back to the Alpha Mask. Lewis House, on page 198, goes on to state that bar fights. I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway, that's just a statement. On page 198, Lewis House goes on to state that bar fights and gang violence are the need to establish one's presence of dominance or strength. Are there times in life when it's important to outwardly portray the alpha male mask?
Maybe when you need to take control of a situation, when there's panic, possibly you need to be almost okay. I'm gonna set pace. Like, okay, this is what's gonna go. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. So almost like. There's been times when I've been like, I used to work in schools before, and there could be times when there's no one that's new. That's basically everyone in the room is new. So you can have a new teacher. I could be new, and the students are running around. So you almost have to be like, okay, I'm gonna raise my voice and almost bark. And when you do that, everyone stops. And then you take control in that situation. So I think there are times when, you do need to step up to the plate and use that alpha male side of you, if you have it, to a good cause. What about you, P?
I think everyone has. I'm gonna say by and large, I think everyone has an alpha male trait where they begin to take control of things. Obviously, I know the degrees are varying. But I think I'm trying to think of one in particular scenario. I think there was one time when, I don't know, Mason, I'm quite sure you were there when we were in, I'm going to say Poland. Do you remember that time when the cab driver tried to charge us an astronomical price?
You know what I mean? It's gonna be bad sometimes.
Okay, cool. All right.
Who
So
was he with Laura and?
yeah, I was with them, but I'm trying to think which ones it was. Which one? Obviously, you know, sometimes not all of them came.
Okay.
But I remember this situation quite well. In that I kind of recalled maybe some of the situations I had when traveling, and I thought to myself, "This guy's taking the piss." All right. And anyway, so the story is we got in the cab. I think we were quoted one price at the hotel or the hostel, sorry. And then once we got to the airport, he's quoted us on like 10, 15 times the price, talking about how on Sundays is different in his country. Right. But at this point, I've been to Argentina, where I don't know what I was about to say. I've been in places where people are trying to con you for it's normal, right? People are trying. I've tried it. Other people go, this $20 is fake. You should have this one. Seriously, I've had that where and they've exchanged fake notes, all that type of stuff. I've had that nonsense with me, you know what I'm saying? So I've seen all this type of stuff before. And I remember being in the back of the cab, and I remember the girls in the front like arguing with the cab driver, and I was like, "Does everyone get out, all right? Because what this dude is not gonna do, he ain't getting out." And he ain't following us to the airport and then talking nonsense to someone else saying on a Sunday is 10, 15 times the price. Everyone's gonna look at him crazy. He's talking nonsense. Because like everyone just get out of the car, he ain't doing shit. Alright, excuse my language, but he ain't doing nothing. So yeah, that was one time where I felt maybe taking charge or something. No, making a decisive decision wasn't taking place. I felt negotiating with him wasn't necessarily the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What about you, Miss?
Yeah, there are times, whether it's even so my second job that I've mentioned before that I have, I'm one of the more senior figures now, and even though I'm only there like once a week or 1.5 times a week, there's often different people with me, whether it's new starters or whether it's people who work different days and whatever, and they need to know they're coming into my world on a Sunday. That I'm the boss, I run this ship. Yeah.
I've heard these stories.
Yeah. And it's simple as that. Like, and I do listen sometimes, sparingly, but like, but they just need to know. I don't know how you guys work on another day, but on this day, this is how it runs, and my strip always runs smoothly. So I think I know what I'm doing, and you stay inside for the ride. So there is times. That's just one of the examples I can think of.
Cool.
Moving on. So later on in the book, and I can't remember what page it is, it might be 198 or 199, Glenn Harris, who was a football coach from Boston, stated that most alpha men, should I say, share deep insecurities. He went on to relate this to the need to go to the gym, take steroids, worrying about hair loss, etc., and generally stating that these men compensate for their feeling of insecurity through unhealthy, extreme behaviour. What's your thoughts on this, guys?
What, in terms of...
Most men sharing deep insecurities. That most alpha men share deep insecurities.
Go on.
So I was gonna say that's very, very similar to like a front, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
I think so. I do believe that. I think obviously I've mentioned it before. I forget the invincible mask, where sometimes you're pushing yourself to a place where you've never been before, and I think when doing so, there is a sense of insecurity, but you're brave enough to take yourself to that place. It may be a little bit different, this scenario, but I think by and large, I mean, people can sit here and we can lie, but I think a lot of people definitely have insecurities. It's a case of how many insecurities do you have? Some have a couple insecurities, some have many, and some people just understand, yeah, this is insecurity that I have, I've just learned to live with it.
Yeah, but maybe, I mean, in regards to doing the gym and things you mentioned just a minute ago, that's to compensate for it. For the insecurities.
Yeah, so they're saying that, like, you know, like some guys will go to the gym, they'll take steroids and they'll just need to be big and, you know, butch, and it's like, it's to compensate for the fact that maybe they've got no personality.
Yeah.
Or they can't have a discussion.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think that you see that quite a lot. Even just that point that he was making, you get a lot of guys that are going out and about on a night out, and they look like wedge and whatnot, but if you actually talk to them, they literally got no personality, or there's nothing else about them besides actually their image. So yeah, that's not to say relatable, but I understand that train of thought.
Another quote that I found interesting in the Alpha Mars chapter: guys don't sit around wanting to be alphas from when they're young. It's something that creeps in, and it often comes from the environment. With this being said, what role, if any, does your environment play in shaping the alpha mask within an individual?
What role in society?
What role does your environment play in shaping you to become an
Yeah,
alpha male?
definitely. I think you're a product of your environment to a degree. Obviously, if you grow up in a surrounding which is everything is nice and everything is well to do, you're not. How you perceive something is going to be different to someone that's grown up in a not so nice environment. That's a bit more harder and has to be a bit more thoughtful about how they get their next meal or whatever it may be. So yeah, I definitely think the environment plays a role. And you want it to be the alpha male, because if you're in an environment where not so much competition is called for, where all right, you're going to be number one. I think, P, you've mentioned it in terms of where we have a competition that everyone wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in that regards, the environment, if you're brought up in an environment where you have to be the winner, then obviously you're going to want to be the alpha male to always be on top. Does that make sense?